Welcome to the 3 Knockdown Rule. Starring Mario Lopez and Steve Kim. Presented by Hustler Casino.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 Knockdown Rule brought to you by Hustler Casino is in effect. I'm Steve Kim, and I'm joined by my co-host, Hollywood Stario Lopez.
Stario Lopez. You're a fool for that, Kimster, and thank you. More on that later. Shout out, Smoking Tim Frazier and
Tino on the edits. All right, the bout sheet for this show. Undisputed in Riyadh. We talk about that fight review, fight preview, Ask Mario, and final flurries. But before we get started, we just want you to know this podcast is sponsored by Hustler Casino. Beat the congestion and enjoy free parking every day at Hustler Casino. Introducing So Fine Sundays, where every Sunday you can win tons of cash with drawings every 2 hours from 12 noon to 8 p.m. Stop by and see how you can win big at Hustler Casino.
Round 1.
All right, round number 1, Saturday afternoon from the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Your new undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, Artur Beterbiev, with a hard-fought, close 12-round majority decision over Dmitry Bivol. Your scores, 114-114, 115-113, and 116-112. Mario, I know there's some debate, but honestly, as someone who picked Bivol, I thought the judges actually got it right.
Thank you for saying that, because I agree. I did pick Beterbiev, and sometimes when you do make a statement, choosing a particular fighter to be victorious, maybe you look at it through a certain lens. But honestly, I thought initially he hadn't fought in a while. He was coming off of surgery. It looked like he needed to kind of get the wheels in motion, dust off the cobwebs a little bit. But once he did, I thought he consistently had effective pressure. He was not reckless at all. He had the more telling, harder punches that delivered more damage. And I also thought he fought every minute of every round, as opposed to Bivol, who had great moments, mind you. And I should have prefaced it by saying this was a very close fight. But I feel even in the early rounds, gave up the last 30 seconds of every round. I was telling you that midway through the fight. And I also feel he allowed Beterbiev to steal some close rounds because of that. And also, I thought the tide was turning towards the middle to late rounds, and Beterbiev closed harder down the stretch. And whenever there's a close fight, I always ask myself, who would I have rather been? And I don't think there's any doubt you would have rather been Artur Beterbiev. My guy's almost 40 years old, again, coming off of a surgery and a lot of inactivity due to an injury. And Bivol, who was firing on all cylinders and really fights at the level of his opponents, it seems like the more dangerous, high-level opponent. He even turns it on. And I have a great deal of respect for Bivol. He really is so pretty in there and fluid, much like a Linares, just in and out, darting, and the combinations were nice. However, you can win your fight off your back foot. And I don't like the term necessarily running, but it looked like he was regressing a lot of the fight and trying to steal moments, and I wanted him to sit down a little bit more on his punches. And I know it's a tough ask to exchange, because that's probably the last guy you want to ever exchange with when brick's in his hands. But to me, it just seemed, as close as it was, that Beterbiev still had more command, ring generalship, and again, closing out the fight down the stretch was enough for me. I had it 115-113 Beterbiev. These calls for a robbery are getting blown out of proportion. It's ridiculous. And if it's 8-4, we're talking the difference between one round. That too is ridiculous. 7-5 seems fair to me. I can see an argument being made for Bivol, but at the same time, if you watch it again and again, I was taking the time to kind of watch it again. I still thought Beterbiev did more than enough to win. I think if they were to fight yet again, and he's even healthier and has a little bit more time to prepare, and hopefully that'll be soon, because again, he is turning 40, I think he can be even more distinctive.
Bivol and his camp would have a much stronger argument if not a robbery claim, if they would have won one of the last 2, if not 3 rounds.
Exactly.
I thought halfway through he had built a lead, maybe through 8 or 9, and I'm thinking, okay, but can you hold on? You got water in your lungs. Can you make it to shore? He made it to shore.
A couple times we didn't know he was going to make it to shore, though.
But they needed Baywatch. They needed to pump that. They needed a little resuscitation. Yes. And Bivol struck him a few times, but he was never really able to truly hurt him. He stunned him a few times, backed him up. And again, I give this guy credit. He did something that nobody else has done before, and that's to see 36 full minutes against this wrecking ball.
And you know what, Kim? I thought that Beterbiev, and much to Bivol's credit because he is so athletic and fleet of foot, I didn't see Beterbiev ever really land solid when he's planted right in front of him. Because that's usually when a guy decides to exchange this, he does the damage and that's it. But then after the fight, Bivol looked busted up. And I was like, oh, damn. He still was able to do some damage. And even Bivol was saying that he was holding it up. And through the gloves, he was even... And you didn't hear much dispute from Bivol.
Well, Bivol's a different type
class
of
act.
guy.
He's a class act.
You know, look, Bivol wants a rematch. It is interesting. I talked to some people that were there inside the arena. Believe it or not, a lot of people actually had Bivol winning, including Turki Al-Sheikh, who I believe wants to do a rematch. Here is the reality. Beterbiev Bivol would not have happened without the Saudi Arabian money. They're the ones who financed it. And Beterbiev, look, he's a great fighter, one of the truly elite, but he's not necessarily a star. In other words, he's not like Canelo or Tank that could go against any B-side and make some money. They may actually run this right back because, quite frankly, it was a pretty good fight. It's not going to be pay-per-view, and it's the type of event that Riyadh season kind of thrives in, that niche fight that hardcores love. There wasn't a great atmosphere inside the arena, let's be honest, but here's the thing. It won't draw in the United States with 2 Russians. That's just the reality.
Even on the heels of the fight.
Yeah, that's the reality. And Bivol, for him to turn it around where he makes a stronger case to win the fight, he's going to have to put himself in double jeopardy. He actually has to plant his feet a little bit more and be inside the pocket and swim without getting wet. But here's the problem. Those waters are filled with piranha. It's a dangerous ask to say to anybody, hey, see that guy with Beterbiev that's knocked out everybody except you, who busted you up? Now go stand in there and don't move as much.
That does not bode well. That's why I think there's even a stronger case to be made for Beterbiev, in my eyes. Now, granted, again, he's almost going to be 40. Father time can creep up at any moment, but he lives a clean lifestyle. How do you see it playing out in the rematch?
You know, I think it's very much the same fight. I do, because, look, both guys have maxed out their ability.
Right.
And look, Bivol is younger, but that fight may have taken something out of him. I've never seen him look quite like that.
No, I've never seen him look like that at all. And I got to tell you something. I think that's the best fight that could be made for Beterbiev, because if you are not fleet of foot, and let's take, for example, potential fights that people were throwing around, like a Benavidez, okay, or even a Canelo. Both guys are not fleet of foot. They stand in front of you. Fast hands, great defensive movement, but I'll tell you what, tailor-made for Beterbiev. He will find you and he will hurt you.
With this victory, there's no doubt, we said it, he joins that exclusive club with Crawford, Inoue, and Usyk. Here's a question that I have. Beterbiev is 21 fights into a career that's coming towards its conclusion. With that limited number of fights, given the fact he did go undisputed, and one by one he picked off the other belt holders, including a very difficult Bivol to end this run, would you consider him, let's say, an all-time great top 10 light heavyweight of all time?
Well, it's tough when you start saying all time just because of the limited number of fights. I would say this. I think you can put him up against any light heavyweight in any era, and he'd be competitive, if not a good chance to be the victor. I honestly feel like that. I think he's always in impeccable condition. He's fundamentally sound. He's got a great amateur pedigree. He's got anvils at each hand. We know he's got a great shot. What else do you want, really? And I think his boxing is underrated, like I've been saying.
See, I think that's fair because, again, how do you put him above the likes of guys that had hundreds of fights like Archie Moore, or the activity of Ezra Charles,
Dwight Muhammad
Cowie, Michael Spinks, guys of that nature, even Roy Jones with his athleticism. That may have been a matchup that didn't really favor Beterbiev with the way Roy could move. That would have been a really interesting fight.
It would have been an interesting fight, but if you take a 30-year-old Beterbiev, maybe. You know what I mean? I think it's a little different because I think cutting off the ring all of a sudden gets a little easier. And honestly, I still think he's competitive with all those guys.
Mario, looking at the undercard, which was the DAZN pay-per-view, we'll talk about that later. Jai Opetaia successfully defends his IBF cruiserweight title by knocking out Jack Massey in 6. Chris Eubank stops Kamil Szermeta in 7. Heavyweight rematch, Fabio Wardley just absolutely blows out Frazier Clark in 1. And then in the most interesting ending of the weekend, Ben Whittaker self-suplexed himself in round number 5 against Liam Cameron. It looked to me like, this is interesting, Ben Whittaker fought like fundamentally sound, and I'm thinking to myself, it's the worst thing for him because he was in a real fight. Then he gets into the ropes, and again, it looked like he got shot, and a lot of people are saying you found a way out of the fight. Your thoughts, Lopez?
I don't know if it was by design. I actually thought he was doing all right. And it was a competitive.
He's getting touched a lot. That wasn't supposed to happen. That's the thing.
Well, that's the thing. But that was a WWE sort of over the turnbuckles move.
Bret Hart would have approved of that.
Exactly.
Seriously.
I was like, whoa. And it reminded me of WWE. Whoever gets back in the ring, beating the 10 count,
right,
is going to win. But it was a good fight up until there. I was liking it.
And that was the problem. And that was the problem.
It wasn't supposed to be
because Ben Whittaker is this Prince Nassim Hamed, Willie Pep type of guy that does all this calisthenics. He does the popping and locking in the ring. He boxes in a way that you would never teach somebody. In this fight, I'm watching it going, man, you may go back to doing everything wrong.
He was definitely getting touched.
Yeah,
it looked like it could have been.
That's what I mean. And I'm just wondering where he kind of hurls himself into the guy, and then he acts like he's Fred Sanford having the big one, and everyone is kind of saying, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to have to look at it again, but upon first glance, it didn't seem like he said to himself, you know what, I'm going to get close to these ropes. I'm going to hurl myself over.
Yeah, right.
And maybe the opportunity presented itself, but he was getting touched. It ended up being a draw.
Technical draw, so
maybe we see it again.
Mario, this pay-per-view is interesting. It was $19.99 for the undercard, not the main event. And meanwhile, ESPN Plus showed you what we all wanted. Here's the problem, and again, I like the zone, but I'm not going to turn a blind eye to this, and Dan Rafael wasn't having it. 2-3 weeks ago, they said this undercard is going to be part of your subscription. A subscription that's gone up from $100 to above $280.
Ooh,
and remember what their tagline was in 2018? Pay-per-view is dead. Well, it's risen from the ashes like the mighty phoenix.
Resurrected.
And now you're doing pay-per-view undercards. That's a bad look.
Lied to us.
Yes.
That's a straight lie. I remember that. That was the tagline.
Yeah.
That's luring you in.
So they are now truly DAZN and confused. All right, we come back more
that was better.
of the 3 Knockdown Rule brought to you by Hustler Casino.
Catch it streaming live right on YouTube.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
$1.2 million.
And I'm losing in this fucking game. What the fuck?
There's a 400K flip. If I win by way, you get 10 grand.
Fucking straddle!
For my fans!
Wow. All in a call.
I'm not fucking leaving!
Raise it up.
Review preview.
All right, we're back on the 3 Knockdown Rule, and we now go to the Fight Review, Fight Preview. Sunday from the Ariake Arena in Tokyo, Japan, we have a new WBA bantamweight champion, Seiya Tatsumi, with an upset over the brother of the monster, Takuma Inoue, in what was a fast-paced fight, 117-110, 115-112, 114-113. And the WBC flyweight title was retained by Kenshiro Teraji with an 11th round stoppage over Christopher Rosales. And then early Monday morning, Bonsai doubleheader, once again, Ariake Arena, Junto Nakatani with a KO in 6 over Sor Chipatuana. Mario, Nakatani is 26 years old, 29-0, 22 knockouts. I'm going to make a statement right here. From 118 to 122, he's favored over everybody except one guy. And you know which guy I'm talking about. Agree or disagree?
Absolutely agree. And he seems to just continue to develop and get better. He's won in style. He's made statements. He's looking sharp. Shout out to our trainer friend.
Rudy Hernandez. I'll say this again. 3 years ago, he said he's the best fighter I've ever trained. I said, better than Chicanito. And he said, yes. I go, why? He goes, more power, and he listens to me. And when you watch Nakatani punch, his punches have like a whipping effect. And the way he turns over, and they work on this, turning it over a certain way and hitting across the knuckle. And the way he just like whips and snaps these punches with the torque. Now, this is interesting. With Inoue, they thought that they were going to start to set up a bantamweight unification bout with Takuma. Well, he lost. So I don't know what's going to happen now. I spoke to Rudy a couple of hours after the fight. He believes that Nakatani will probably come back in the first part of 2025. And by the summer, he says he will fight in the United States, and there's been talk of him co-headlining with Naoya Inoue. Oh, boy. The showdown. That might be the biggest Japanese fight of all time.
Now that Beterbiev and Bivol happened, that's probably moved into my Mount Rushmore of fights that I'd like to see.
Wow.
Would you agree?
Yes. And look, if you look at the pound-for-pound list, Inoue is no worse than second on most of them, if not number one. And you look at Nakatani, he's now at 8 or 9. So you don't get a lot of these showdowns where both guys are in the pound-for-pound ranking. So that will certainly be an elite matchup. Also on this card, Mario, what may be one of the best fights I've seen this year. We have a new WBO super flyweight champion, Fumeli Kafu out of South Africa, just banged it out with Kosei Tanaka. This is how close this fight was. There was a knockdown of Tanaka in round 6, I believe. The 3 judges had it all scored 114, 113 one way, and the deciding judge had it 114, 113 for Kafu. So the knockdown was the difference.
Well, it often is.
And
Wow.
Tanaka rallied. He closed hard, and I will give those fine Japanese people credit. In any other country, the foreign fighter does not get the decision. They are honorable people there in the land of the rising sun. And also, for the WBO flyweight title, Rudy's other world champion, Tony Alasquaga, no contest in one over Jonathan Gonzalez after an accidental clash of heads. Rudy is not happy. He wants to call that a KO. He'll be filing a protest, he says, with the WBO. Folks, are you looking to get involved with the 3 Knockdown Rule and sponsor our fine program? We have some spots available. Please email info@boxbid.io. Once again, that's info@boxbid.io. Boxbid is an online platform that helps professional boxers connect with their fans by providing exclusive Fight Week merchandise, memorabilia, and sponsorships. You can even buy a shout-out on boxbid.io, which handles our sponsorships, and we are proudly working with boxbid.io. Moving on, fight preview. Orlando, Florida on Prime Video for the IBF Junior Middleweight Championship of the World. Bakram Murtazaliev takes on Tszyu. Mario, can we give Tszyu credit? Here's a guy that took on Sebastian Fundura on a week's notice and said, you know what, I'll take on that guy that's a foot taller than my previous opponent. He gets cut up looking like Carrie in the homecoming scene, right? And then he says, you know what, it's okay. I want to come back. They thought they had the Virgil Ortiz fight, but it turned out it was a little bit too soon, and he's going to be fighting for a belt right after. Bravo to Tszyu.
He's a throwback. He wants the best competitors, or the toughest competitors, I should say, and the toughest opponents. Really like this kid, and I think due to him being so focused and disciplined, I think he will get back on track. That's turning into an exciting division.
We've said this a lot, belts matter. And if he has this IBF belt, and I believe he is too skilled, too well-rounded for Murtazaliev, I would love to see a unification bout, because if Fundura really is going to fight Errol Spence, okay, so that's off the table. How about Crawford and Tszyu
I love that
at
fight.
54?
I love that fight.
Excellent fight.
News and notes.
All right, moving on to news and notes. December 7th, Top Rank has announced, Mario, last year the fight of the year might have been Rafael Espinoza rallying late to floor Robeisy Ramirez to win the WBO featherweight title.
Fight.
Guess what? They're going to do it again December 7th.
Uh-oh.
And it's the night of rematches as Emmanuel Navarrete takes on Oscar Valdez on ESPN. Also, your thoughts. The possible fight, we mentioned Benavidez. There's a lot of conjecture out there, and Benavidez put it out there on social media.
Morrell.
Him against David Morrell.
I like that fight. Good for him. That's a dangerous fight, but I like that fight.
Who do you favor? Neither of them look like gangbusters in their 175 debut, Mario. I'll be honest.
No, Morrell's obviously a dangerous opponent, solid fighter, but that was Benavidez' first fight at 75. I still think he's the more talented, naturally gifted fighter, and I think because of experience and level of opposition, I'm favoring him.
Yeah, I remember watching Morrell at the BMO Stadium, and I'm thinking, weight classes matter, because he looked like a monster at 68, looked much more human at 75. And you're right about David Benavidez. He took on a former world champion.
He was
Gavozic.
Exactly, who was given Beterbiev issues.
Right.
You know?
So I would favor the activity and the size of Benavidez, but I will say this, Morrell and his athleticism and the fact he's a southpaw that can go in and out, very good fight put together there by the PBC.
Is. I really like that fight.
Should that come to fruition. Moving on to the Ask Mario segment of this fine program from Carl Brandt. Hey guys, I thought Bivol won by a point and have no issue with the draw or Arthur winning by a point. Bring on the rematch. My question, based on what we saw of Arthur on Saturday, how does Mario think Canelo would fare against him? I legit think Arthur would KO Canelo.
I don't necessarily disagree. I think if you're in the light heavyweight division, and again, if you're not an athletic, fleet-of-foot guy that sticks and moves, and you want to, if you're just a little more plodding and stand in front of Beterbiev, that is a bad style for you. And I honestly think, because I do think, again, I think he actually is a really solid boxer. His power gets a lot of the focus. But I think he eventually just kind of... It doesn't matter if he's hitting you in your arms.
It hurts.
In your hips.
It hurts.
It hurts. Your gloves. I think he breaks you down eventually. He's got a strong will, just as strong as his fists.
Rudy Hernandez has talked about it. When he faced guys with high guards or with the Philly shell, he says specifically one area that they are going to target are the wrists. And if you ever hit yourself on a wrist, think about Beterbiev doing that. Think about a sledgehammer just coming down.
Have you seen the dude do push-ups?
Yeah.
With the fingertips, the knuckles,
right.
mean, bro, that hurts just looking at it.
There were times I thought that Bivol did deflect punches, but he was still in pain. You could just kind of see it in his body language because he would scurry away. And I don't blame him, to be honest with you.
A lot of the combinations that Bivol was throwing too, Beterbiev deflected a lot of those punches as well.
And here's the other thing. Canelo, I would say, is a doubles hitter at 175, if that. And look, his output is no longer what it was.
Right.
He's actually probably, about 3/4 of the output he used to have.
And he's never been fleet of foot,
right.
Much less now. As a matter of fact, he's got heavy feet. I think he's all wrong for us, baby.
Here's one from Eric Marrero. Known him for a while. When is Mario coming to a Miami Hurricanes game? There's only a few more opportunities to see Cam Ward in action. What a treat that is. I got to see him a couple of times. Going up there next week. Mario, do yourself a favor. You could tell your kids one day, I watched the 2024 Heisman Trophy winner. I'll just leave it at that. If you don't do it, you will regret it.
Did you write this?
Yeah. Here's a question from Anson Wainwright. Does great work for Ring Magazine. Great show, my guys. My Ask Mario question is this. If you guys were matchmaking Riyadh season, an event, what would your fights be? A 6-fight card, 3 each, and who would be your musical interlude? Ha ha.
Hey, shout out to Missy Elliott. She looked great. She was breaking it down. She looked great. I like that he's incorporating the musical acts.
For that long, though?
Well,
I mean,
I think when I was there,
God.
look, the Eminem one was a lot of fun, made for a long night, but it was local here in LA, so he's trying to make events. I get it. I can appreciate the entertainment factor. As far as the fights are concerned, in a way, Nakatani.
Bonsai.
Okay. The reason I paused, do I want to see Crawford, Canelo, or Canelo, Benavidez more? I'm thinking Benavidez, he's not going up to 75, so I'm thinking Crawford.
Oh, you're saying the Crawford. You want to move up? Go ahead. It just may not be Canelo. I like that.
Yeah.
I think Turkey may not like that, though.
He may not like that, but in perfect... Would you rather see Canelo against Crawford or against Canelo against Benavidez?
Canelo.
No, not each other. Who would you rather see Canelo face, Crawford or Benavidez?
Benavidez. I still, look, I'm with you. Weight classes matter.
Yeah, but I don't think Benavidez is going to go back down to 68 anymore. I don't think he's going to.
Well, that ship has sailed then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the ship has sailed. So I don't mind seeing Crawford, Canelo.
Okay.
Right now. Musical guests. Dude. Right now, you got to have someone that puts on a good show, so I'm going to go with Bruno Mars.
All right, here are my 3 fights. Bruno
like
Mars.
guest,
couldn't name
Bruno
you
Mars is
couldn't name you a song of his.
He's like the male Beyonce, dude. That dude puts on great shows.
All right,
Incredible.
here are my 3 fights. And I'm gonna go complete purist here. Janibek against Hamza. Risk versus reward. Let's see who the baddest dude is at 160.
Not yet.
Why
I
not?
like that fight, but not yet.
That's not the way Turkey and I think. Turkey and I make fights. We're not trying to be managed. We're not trying to be Secret Service here.
Well, you're trying to get Hamzat hurt.
No,
Okay,
I'm not. No, Hamza's a dangerous man.
I like Hamzat. I'd like to see one more fight before he takes on Janibek. That's all I'm saying.
And here's the one: Terrence Crawford against Jerron Boots Ennis.
Okay, I'd like
a good
that.
fight.
You're going purist. Okay.
I'm going purist, and also
I'm going box office.
And then also, here's one: Artur Beterbiev, David Benavidez.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, can I switch? Yes, I like that one too.
And for my musical interlude,
I like that. Let's go. That jumped out.
No, yes I do, because I'm for the fans, right?
All of a sudden,
what we're gonna do is just play the video of Falco, Rock Me Amadeus, get onto the fights. That's all we're doing.
Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna do a 5-minute thing, and that's it. Maybe play MC Hammer. Let's get it started.
Not even like
that's it.
November Rain. November Rain is a great music video.
No, but yeah, we don't need an hour. That was ridiculous.
Speechless. Was it an hour?
It was, because from
a tight 20-minute set.
20 minutes. That's about 10 minutes way too long. I'm sorry. Fans are here to watch fights. And by the way,
entertained, dude.
And it's about 1 o'clock in the morning by the time they get off to those main events, by the way. I know people, they were getting tired.
No, I know. Out in the East Coast, I know.
And here's one from Hamed. If there's no rematch and Beterbiev decides to move up to cruiserweight, do you guys think Bivol versus Gavozic would be interesting? And how do you think the Benavidez Morel winner would fare up against Beterbiev and Bivol? That's a great question. I still get the sense Beterbiev and Bivol are number 1 and 2 at light heavyweight. Don't you?
No, absolutely. Especially after this last weekend. I don't think there's any doubt. But now you've got me wanting to see Benavidez and Beterbiev.
Yeah.
I got to say, though, it's kind of hard to pick Beterbiev against Beterbiev.
Yeah, right now.
In that fight right now. Don't you agree?
Because the way I look at it, Bivol
just because of the
had the style, had the character.
He had that perfect style.
He was the one guy that said, if anyone's going to beat him, it's got to be that guy.
That's exactly right.
By the way, the only guy happier about the Beterbiev victory than Beterbiev himself is Dimitri's ex-wife. Wow.
Dude, what was the deal with that? I was meaning to ask you about that. Why was she applauding and shit? What was the drama? Everybody's got like an ex-wife. What happened?
They divorced. There's accusations. I don't want to get into a man's business.
You just brought it up, so
I know, but lady, give it up, man. My God, he's left you. Like, turn the page.
Cold as ice.
Turn the page. Hey, Stella, get your groove back.
Clearly, you never had your heart broken.
No, but like this lady here. Yeah, that's true. But this lady's gone crazy. My God.
Final flurries.
Mario, a couple of things here. We go on to final flurries. What was Thursday like for you? Special day.
Oh, that was fun, man. Thanks for coming. Oh, that's right. You didn't show. My bad.
No.
That's
you said there was no room. There was no room.
I'm kidding.
Get out
and then
of
I
here.
called you that day, and I said, hey,
but
you know
I was already at the office.
The guilt. It was really nice. It was a nice day. A lot of people showed up, like outside, and just to kind of hang out.
Come on.
And it was nice with the family there. Frazier was there even.
Yeah. Here we go, getting a guilt trip
again. The speeches.
Didn't see Steve Kim.
Dude, I'm right. And you know what? I didn't care if I was like down the street on Vine. I didn't care just to be there. I got like a really cool location across the street from the Chinese theater.
People are going to be stepping over your name a million times a day.
Walk all over me. Walk all over right in front of Wahlburgers. Yeah. And then coincidentally, Mark Wahlberg was one of the speakers. They all said really nice things. And it was nice. You get a little emotional and stuff because you start thinking, damn, my kids are going to be able to see this and their kids, right? Because it's not going anywhere. So I was like, wow, it was just kind of a trip when you put it in perspective. It was good. But I'm tired because from there, then we went to like this brunch where we were drinking and partying. Then all the family and everybody comes over to my house. We're drinking and partying. The next day, I went to Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, wow.
Which was a blast. And we were drinking and having a great time there. Then the next day,
Hustler Casino.
We went to Hustler Casino where we had a great time.
That's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Hey, they always treat us really well. They're great hosts over there. It's a nice setup. It's a good time. The food is good. The drinks are good. We happen to have seen 2 good fights in a row there now. So thank you, Hustler. And that was really cool. My dad's like, hey, when are we going to go again? I said,
orale, really?
He had a good time. And my dad and my friend both were giving you compliments on your wig, which I don't know what's the matter with them.
Man, these are fine.
It's the same color.
These are fine
That's
people.
right. Yeah, they're all like silver. They're all silver boxes right
these
there.
are fine people. By the way,
and then I had to hurry. I would have hung there longer, but because it was my wife's birthday, then I had to take her birthday. Dude, I was so tired on Sunday. I had Dodger tickets, but decided not to.
What? You missing a Dodger game?
And that's when they won 9-0.
Yeah, it didn't happen today though.
No,
by the way, a shout out to Sean Yapel, Joseph, and Andrea. They do a great job organizing this stuff. All
Those
the
guys
staff
are cool.
at Hustler Casino. We had a great time. Come out next time. Doug Fisher showed up.
Yeah, Doug Fisher was there.
And by the way, former NFLer and your brother-in-law, Kylie Wong. I haven't seen him in years. He looks more jacked than ever.
Yeah, he's dude. We were training. He's getting into jiu-jitsu now too. I was training.
That's the
with
last
him.
thing he needs to learn is jiu-jitsu. Oh my
it's
God.
Like he's strong. He got that Polynesian strength, right? It's like I'm trying to choke out a Brahma bull. I can't even get my arms around
Oh,
his
and by
neck.
the way, Tom Loeffler was there.
Tom
Sergey
Loeffler.
Boacek,
Yeah,
Omar
that's right.
Trinidad, some of the
Yeah.
other fighters from 360.
That was a good time. That
That
was
was a
fun.
great time. We're going to be doing that every
Esterman
couple
was
of.
there.
Esterman was there. right. So it was always a great time at Hustler Casino. We'll be doing that every couple of months.
Yeah.
Mario, we talked about this, and you said we'll bring it up. We got a few more minutes. The Lou Pearlman doc on Netflix, I found fascinating.
I really liked it. Did you finish it?
Yes.
What was so? This is the manager.
Transcontinental.
This is the manager and essentially the creator of Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, O-Town, and a bunch of other highly successful groups. And it turns out, long story short, he was a shady guy from the beginning, started getting into the blimp business. Here's the thing that tripped me out, though, Kim, and tell me if you didn't feel the same. Once he started achieving legitimate success and making a lot of money, legitimately, it was a little Colonel Tom Parker in these deals, taking these guys, but it was legitimate. They signed up for it. His attitude was, if it wasn't for me, you guys wouldn't be here, right? I get it. That's fine. Maybe
he
not.
was the 5th or 6th Backstreet Boy.
Right, exactly. Maybe not
on paper
the most kosher move, but
That's
not
the
not
business.
shady. That's
It is
the
the
business.
business. I mean,
he started making a lot of money. The wild thing to me is he continued to be shady.
Never
And
went legitimate.
He never went legitimate. After making all this legitimate money, he continued to do these Ponzi schemes. And that was blowing my mind. Didn't that trip you out?
Yeah, but it's that old thing that they asked the famous crook one time, why do you rob banks? And they go, well, that's where the money is. That's what they are.
Yeah, but if those crooks had money, legit money, maybe they don't rob those banks, I would think. Wouldn't you?
But Mario, you know what I found also odd? So in his blimp business, he kept crashing them.
No, they all crashed.
They all crashed. So I have a question.
Did you see it? You saw it too.
You didn't detect a pattern like, okay, you get one crash. By the 7th crash, you better be out of business or someone better look into
Like I said, he was
insurance.
shady.
He got all the insurance money.
Dude, he was shady. And so I was just blown away because he was making all this money, making history with his things, but he continued to be shady. I guess, you know what I learned from that? I guess if you're shady.
Stay shady.
No, if you're shady, it's in you.
You know what Luke Pearlman was? He wasn't Slim Shady.
He was not.
No.
Why you got to talk about Esterman
No,
like that?
oh, hey, now here's another thing.
Okay.
His airline that never had a plane. It turned out he took a picture of a
Is that
toy
the
plane,
best?
and they took a postcard.
Dude, that was the
I like,
best.
so,
It was amazing.
So basically, these dumb kids are going to be the next Justin Timberlake. See a model plane, you could just put Lopez Air, and these kids would believe that
He had some sort of talent though to assemble and put those kids together. You know?
No, he did have a vision. He really was like.
I was just blown away by that. But he was his own demise. He got pinched with his. He made himself.
I thought it was really
So
interesting.
weird.
That's the band. Some of the guys that were actually in the show, they had conflicted feelings about him, and
Because they know they wouldn't be where they're at if it wasn't him. Even
Because
though they were
there's
taking
part of
advantage
them, they say this guy's a horrible human being. I hated him, what he did to people and myself. But then others still say that was my best friend. I thought that was really honest because it's hard to admit that a person like that who ends up having this nefarious background, I think a lot of people don't want to admit, well, that guy helped me.
They absolutely helped him. And I thought we were going to hear claims of him with some sort of assault type. Nobody ever came out with that.
I kept
Didn't you think
waiting for it.
Nobody ever came out with that.
Right.
Nobody ever, and they never saw him with any like little boys.
There's no Diddy party going on.
There was no Diddy party. There was nothing. He was just a legit to the core shady dude.
Yeah, and he was good at it though. Till he got caught.
Well,
till he got caught.
But I look, if you never hit the lotto, I can see you continuing to be shady.
Yeah.
Once you hit the lotto, you got Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, you hit the freaking lotto.
Yeah.
And you still continue to be shady.
Man, and
then you know what? Then you deserve everything.
He was the producer.
Dude, he ended up in prison and dying. That's what I'm saying. The whole thing was so. You know what I mean? The dude hit the lotto and continued to do it.
The biggest producer of boy bands and a Ponzi scheme. That's quite a life.
He was like a Bernie Madoff musical
with a little
genius.
bit of who's that guy at Motown that made all those hits?
Berry Gordy.
Berry Gordy. Barry Gordy and
Right.
Bernie Madoff.
So
wow.
it was interesting. I
Good
like
combo.
I think he was constantly playing a game of catch up though.
Like, yeah.
no, this is
Because he had taken out a bunch of loans. And
Right,
stuff.
and then he gets another loan to pay off the
No,
loan.
but because I talked to Lance Bass, one of the NSYNC kids, about it, and he goes, and I had the same conversation. He goes, the thing was, Mario, is that he lived such an extravagant lifestyle.
That you thought.
He had no. He had to do that to keep up the extravagance. It was never enough. I mean, look, he made a lot of money, but still, the private jets everywhere, these decadent dinners every night, that adds up. And so you've got to make it even more. And then you're sponsoring everybody. Remember in those
Mario.
parties? So if he lived this extravagant lifestyle, so he had to do that just to keep up with the Joneses.
You know,
in his
to
eyes.
wrap it up here, it reminds me of the words from the philosopher atop Georgetown Mountain, Pat Ewing, who once said, "We make a lot of money,
But we spend
a lot of money."
Yeah,
All right, well, that's it for
That's
this
true.
week's edition of the 3 Knockdown Rule. We want to let you know, want to sponsor our show, info@boxbid.io. This has been the 3 Knockdown Rule, brought to you by Hustler Casino.